Good morning. My name is Corinna Whiteaker-Lewis. My pronouns are she, her, and I serve San Gabriel as your Director of Religious Education. The piano music you just heard is your signal to settle into your seats and prepare for the start of our worship service. Before we begin, I have a few quick announcements. General Assembly, the annual national meeting of our Unitarian Universalist Association, is next week. Each congregation is allowed to send delegates to that meeting. It's like a business meeting as well as workshops and lots of fun at the same time and amazing worship. It's in Pittsburgh, and our Reverend Jamie Andel is there, will be attending. I will be attending virtually. Keith Hutchison is going to be going at the back as one of our delegates, and we have one more delegate available to us. You can go for free virtually and vote in the business meeting. You wouldn't be able to do the workshops, that costs more money, but if you wanted to just attend to vote on the Article 2 proposal and our new president, you are welcome to do that, so please see me or Keith after the service if you would like to attend. I hope you all received a little handout of announcements. Some things in here include a social justice meeting that's coming up. We have an art reception. And I also wanted to mention that next month on July 11th, our film series is continuing at the Georgetown Library with the movie Pleasantville, which is one of my favorites. So I hope you all can put that on your schedule. All right, let us now begin.
Welcome. My name is Linda Mueller, and welcome to San Gabriel UU Church. Whether you are here in the sanctuary or watching at home, we are glad you are here. As I said, my name is Linda Mueller, and my pronouns are she and her. And Corinna asked me to say a few words about myself, but I took the liberty as an old lady you'll see the few words turned into a page. But she's indulging me, and I hope you will too. For some years during the worst of the pandemic, I was on Zoom every Sunday morning, attending the services created by a cadre of dedicated and talented members. They were not only mastering new technology, they were also planning and conducting the services and running the church. Among many others, Michelle Augustine and Molly Hornbuckle come to mind as my heroes. Those virtual meetings were a lifeline for me. During that time, I also searched online to find speakers and sermons from UU churches and fellowships all over the country. San Gabriel has survived and thrived to the worst of it, thanks to the hard work and ingenuity of so many. And as you may recall, we had no minister, but we did always have Corinna. Finally, we opened. Reverend Jamie was hired part-time. Many new ideas have enabled us to connect more deeply in countless ways. The Messenger appears weekly in your Friday inbox. Our Soul Matters groups are thriving. The teams in our church are growing in size and support. I was delighted to attend a live service led with aplomb by a delightful 10-year-old. UUs are just awesome. No one was more surprised than I to find myself serving as secretary of the board. I was content to remain on the sidelines. However, as our world changes so dramatically, I've come to recognize that all of our voices, every one of us, our presence is needed in Georgetown more than ever. Each and every one of us can contribute to our sustainability. In some way, we all can reach out. Yes, that means you. Yes, that means even me, an 81-year-old retired teacher. As an aside, last Thursday night, the outgoing board met with the incoming board. We had a delightful meeting. The transition of power was seamless, congenial, and transparent. All of the documents were turned over and are on file. We know that San Gabriel is in good hands. And by the way, Molly's delicious lasagna soothes the whole process. Thank you for indulging me. Now I better get to business. San Gabriel is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association. There are over 1,000 UU congregations in the United States. All of us together are working for a just, peaceful, and sustainable world. We sustain each other in community as the first step down the long road of that important work. If you would like to know more about us and learn about upcoming events, please go to our website and sign up for our newsletter. Please know that whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. And now we will sing the opening hymn, Come Sing a Song with Me. The words are in the gray hymnal. The lyrics will also be projected. Please rise in body and spirit as you are able. We now light this chalice with the words of our own Reverend Jamie. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith for the promise of a new day, and all that is, and all that was, and all that is yet to come. May our many sparks meet and merge in communion of heart and soul to greet this day.
Our call to worship this morning, and in honor of June as a month of pride for the LGBTQ plus community, I offer you these words with one slight change from UU Minister Hannah Roberts Villeneuve. People sometimes ask, is pride a protest or a party? And the answer is, of course, yes. And why not? Why not rejoice as we resist, dance as we demand change, celebrate as we create community that delights in all of who we are? So bring all of that with you this morning. Bring your policy demands, bring your glitter, bring your Texas legislature broken heart. Bring your rainbow socks. Bring the emptiness you feel for our siblings gone too soon. Bring your Gloria Estefan mix. Bring your tender hope for change. Bring your most garish eyeshadow. Bring your spirit tattered and battered by a world that seems insistent on choosing fear and hate. Gather up all these things and bring them here to a place where we don't have to shoulder these burdens alone or celebrate these joys alone. Come, let us worship together.
Today, let us take joy in reaffirming our chosen community by reading our covenant together. Please read after me. The words will be projected. As a member of our beloved community, we agree to act together in loving kindness to promote justice, equity, and compassion. We will seek first to understand, then to be understood. Generous in time, talent, and treasure, we promise to work together. We will welcome the diversity among us with genuine curiosity, acceptance, and empathy. We promise to work toward forgiveness whenever we fell short of expectations. Moving forward, we will honor our past, embrace change, and joyfully celebrate the success of our community. And now it is time for our Wonder Box. Let's see what Corinna has in store for us.
Okay, here it is. There's one smaller person in the back who may want to make a guess as to what's in here. Unfortunately, it's not making any noise at all. There are no clues as to what could be in this Wonder Box. Do you want to try and make a guess as what's inside here? And anyone is welcome to try and make a guess. Or actually not try, just make a guess. Air, there's definitely some air in here. I can guarantee that. The missing puppy, yes, we have a different slide today. This is even harder to live up to than the puppy. Anything else? Feathers, excellent thought. All right, shall we open it up? We helped each other learn and grow with those guesses. Let's see what we've got. Does this belong to anybody here? World's best dad. It's a little award. Come on, somebody needs to come claim this. I think there's several folks in the room who could use this one, right? All right, let's see what our story says about dads.
Dad by My Side, written and illustrated by Sush, published by Little Brown and Company. With Dad by my side, there's nothing we can't do. He knows how to make me smile. He's not afraid to look silly. No matter how busy he is, he always makes time. We love to try new things together. Eggshells in our omelets don't bother us at all. He comforts me when I'm sad. I make him feel better, too. Neither of us likes it when he has to go away. But he doesn't miss a single lullaby, even when he's far from home. We fill our house with special marks. He teaches me. And I teach him too. We love to cuddle. He always makes space. He tells the best stories. He makes every room feel cozy. He protects me from monsters under the bed. He helps me. And I help him too. It doesn't matter what we're doing, as long as we're together. The end.
If that story is at all familiar to you, it's because it's the one I shared last year for Father's Day. What I just love about that story is that it illustrates how love is expressed between a child and their parent. In this case, it was between a father and a daughter. Happy Father's Day to all of our dads here today and watching from home. And we know that many families may or may not have fathers in them for all kinds of reasons. So on this day, let's also celebrate the presence of love in all its forms that makes the trusting relationships of family possible. As you age, it's ridiculous how fast bird watching creeps up on you. You spend your whole life, kind of being 100% indifferent to birds. And then one day you're like, dang, is that a yellow rump warbler? That was a joke that was recently shared on the UU Hysterical Society Facebook page, so I highly recommend that page if you are a Facebook person. And I will say this is not completely true for me. I have kind of always admired birds and enjoyed spotting them. And I still consider myself a bird watcher, not a birder. Big distinction there. But I have the Merlin app on my phone from the Cornell School of Ornithology, and I tend to get a bit more avid when I have the time. That really picked up during the pandemic when I was walking on my neighborhood streets a lot. And recently, I was on vacation in the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina, and yes, I did add several new birds to my life list there, including a beautiful indigo bunting. And I'm very strict, I have to actually see it. Merlin app lets you hear the birds, and you can do the recording and identify it that way, but I'm like, no, I have to actually spot it. It's become a bit of a Pokemon gotta catch 'em all situation for the natural world. My husband Dale also has the iNaturalist app on his phone, which is very handy in helping to identify plants and flowers and trees. So, we spend a lot of time hiking on these trips. I will say that I have always struggled between needing to know what something is called and just being able to enjoy the beauty and serenity of nature. Is a bit of the whole, does a tree falling in the forest make a sound if no one's there to hear it kind of situation. Our relationship to the earth is so fraught, and sometimes I just want to respect that all these plants and animals exist, regardless of any human-endowed name. And so sometimes I just intentionally resist finding out what something was named by, let's face it, some old white guy a long time ago, in order to somehow better respect the inherent worth and dignity of natural things, independent of that naming, independent of that imposed framework from a human understanding. Does that make any sense to you? I'm thinking back now to the sermon that was preached by Eric Hepburn just a few Sundays ago, and how not knowing something is where we find our sense of wonder and our awe. That in turn brings us into a place of humility and gratitude. And we know that a practice of gratitude is good for us, good for our mental health. Studies for years now have shown that if you consciously count your blessings, you tend to be happier and less depressed. So rather than whipping out my phone constantly in chase of, chasing every bird to make note of who or what they are, any flower or tree, I sometimes balance that with just letting the mystery be and be grateful for the experience, for allowing nature to fill me with wonder sometimes, because there's joy in knowing too. It can be both things. Knowing the names of things is also fun for me. It's a balance. Now, the Messenger newsletter told you that the title of this sermon is Practicing Delight, and the sign outside says Joy is Survival. And I chose this topic because our Soul Matters curriculum this month is the path of delight. And I am fortunate enough to have just finished a vacation where I got to spend time in nature, hiking and spending time outdoors in ways that brought me a lot of delight, either with my phone in hand or adding birds to my life list or not, just simply taking it in. As May Sarton says, the capacity for delight is the gift of paying attention. My sense is that many of you feel delight, awe, and wonder in nature in outdoor spaces. I often feel most patriotic in a national park. As a pacifist, of all the things we as a country can do on a national scale, protecting natural lands feels really good. And for some reason, I really like the signage, the fonts that they use, and their posts on social media are actually also really funny. A recent example was, hike in groups, bears like options. Followed by more serious guidance. But I grew up going to parks, national and state parks with my family on vacation. I continued to do so with my own kids, and I do it now. And on this last vacation, I spent a lot of time at the most visited national park in the country. And it has held that distinction since 1946. And it is not Yellowstone or the Grand Canyon, it is the Blue Ridge Parkway. And ironically, it's a road, 469 miles of road for cars, which doesn't really make you think park, or at least that's not what you think of when you think of park. But it is gorgeous with incredible overlooks at every turn, campgrounds, waterfalls, and many hiking trails. Now, about that patriotism, Maya Angelou tells us, do the best you can until you know better, and then when you know better, do better. For the Black, Indigenous, people of color in the room, I ask for your patience and forgiveness as I share some of my learning. While I still feel most patriotic in a national park, that feeling is tempered with a reckoning with reality, with the truth about how many of the national parks were created. From a website from the University of North Carolina called Driving Through Time that chronicles the history of the parkway, I quote, "The beautiful parkway landscape conceals the many elements of social conflict and disruption that have marked its history. It is important to understand the often wrenching choices that the construction and preservation of a scenic parkway in a populated region have necessarily entailed." Conceived during the Great Depression as part of the New Deal, the creation of the parkway, while trying to solve social problems by putting people to work and supporting a tourism economy, also often dismissed or ignored negative impacts to people in the immediate vicinity. And of course, those people were most often also poor or indigenous or people of color or all of the above. And certainly there are similar histories behind many of our national parks. A price for these treasures was paid, often by those who could least afford it. So I want you to imagine for just a minute, maybe even close your eyes if you want to, and bring to your mind an image of people enjoying the outdoors. Maybe you think of an ad campaign for like igloo coolers or Coleman lantern or something. But what color skin do those people have? I will tell you, I don't see many people of color while I am out hiking. And there are specific reasons for that. And if you are thinking, oh, people of color just don't like to camp, well, question that. Why wouldn't they? Well, it turns out there are lots of reasons. Our national parks and most other varieties of public outdoor spaces were created as an escape for wealthy white people. Many remained segregated into the 1950s. And in the 1930s, when the Blue Ridge Parkway was created, who do you think owned a car and would be able to enjoy it? Many of the parks are remote and still costly to get to. As of 2020, 77% of visitors to national parks are white, while minorities make up 42% of the overall population. We really can call it the Great White Outdoors, which was an ABC News documentary that I watched recently. When you consider factors like racial profiling, remember Chris Cooper, who was bird watching in Central Park when a white woman called police on him? Park rangers who look like police and are overwhelmingly white. Most signage that's only in English, the signage that I love. Simply not seeing people who look like you. And for Black people in the South in particular, a history of atrocities that happened in the woods. The question isn't why wouldn't they, but why would they? Everyone has the right to feel safe and be safe, especially in our public lands. We are in the middle of Pride Month, and tomorrow is Juneteenth. As a white, cisgendered, heterosexual woman, I want to be a responsible, respectful ally. Knowing our country's history is one important step in that allyship. When that comes to spending time outdoors, do I try to say hello and smile at everyone I meet on the trail, especially someone of color? Yes. Do I learn about and amplify organizations like Brown People Camping, Melanin Base Camp, Color Outside, and Diversify Outdoors that are advocating and helping people of color enjoy the outdoors? Yes, they're awesome. Because the outdoors, including national parks, state parks, you name it, are for everyone. They are our collective birthright. Our theme this month is the path of delight. And I've shared with you one important thing that brings me delight and awe and gratitude, being in the outdoors with a phone in my hand or not. And maybe not when it's triple digits out, but I think you get what I mean. Time outdoors is restorative and helps relieve stress. People of color, LGBTQ folks, who all have some level of trauma from the things they've lived through as folks with marginalized identities, may especially need access to the healing benefits of nature. I want it to be more accessible to everyone. May that be so. Now we come to a time in our service where we share our joys and our sorrows, our concerns and our gratitudes. So let's settle into our seats. Let's give each other the gift of attention. We can take a deep breath and invite stillness into this moment. Now is a time for sharing what is on your heart. A joy or a gratitude that you want to lift up, or a pain or a concern you want to ease through sharing. Let's create a circle of caring together. Is there anyone who would like the mic first? Is there anyone who has a joy or a sorrow to share? It's okay to pass. We don't need to have something if we don't have anything. Joe?
I'd like to express my joy at being elected as secretary, and Linda brought the documents, the recording, and I'll promise to keep them in the bathroom where you can lock the door.
I don't know, is that a good role model, the bathroom?
Hi, I'd like to express an appreciation for my father. He passed many years ago, and I've never really been very appreciative of him as a father. I've noticed his flaws a lot more than all the wonderful things he did do for me. And as I've gotten older, I begin to appreciate those a lot more. And so I just thought it would be appropriate now, since we have a little bit of dead space in the room. So I just add this, and also because I'm feeling it. Thanks.
Thank you, John.
This is a joy that I ask your indulgence about, just like Linda asked us to indulge her. Because it's, in some way, it's a little frivolous, but it's significant also. Corinna talked about the Blue Ridge Parkway. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. Well, at mile marker 453.4 on the Blue Ridge Parkway, there is a sign, and it says, View Hornbuckle Valley. And so I've stopped there on occasion and taken a picture and looked out into that valley, and of course wondered what it was like to for my ancestors possibly to be there. I wish I could say that they were indigenous folk, because I grew up thinking that that was a name, probably was an Indian name, but no, it's English. But whoever James Hornbuckle was, he farmed that area, and it's a wonderful memoir for me at mile marker 453.4.
I wanted to share the joy of having my son and grandson here. At this point, I believe they chose to be absent from the building. They're somewhere on the premises. His car is still here, but they chose to be absent anyway. And also, I wanted to share a country western truism with you. Most daddies don't just love their children every now and then. It's a love without end. Amen.
Thank you. Any other?
I just wanted to express the sorrow that the Southern Baptist churches have decided to kick every church that is headed by a woman minister out with a vote of like 9-1 or 9,000 to 1,000. Unbelievable. I also wanted to express this is a really tough day for me. My mother-in-law is sick and very, very sick, and she does not want to go to the hospital. And this is so tough for a nurse who wants to try to fix things and honor her wishes. I'm doing my very best to go towards the honor her wishes part.
Any other joys or sorrows you want to speak into this sacred space we've created together? Linda.
I just want to say what a joy it is to stand here and look out at all your smiling faces. I'm so grateful that you came today and shared all your delights with us and your sorrows. Thank you.
I'd like to just again share sorrow around the lack of will for gun control in this country, and that we experienced another shooting at a Juneteenth celebration in Chicago last night. Let's take a deep cleansing breath and exhale. Thank you so much for sharing the joy of a father better understood, and gratitude for ancestry and for community here. And we offer support for hard decisions. And we comfort one another when the world does not seem to reflect what we want it to be. For all of this, We feel empathy and compassion, and for all that remains unspoken, may the caring of the community offer a space of deep kindness and care.
As a meditation on the joys and sorrows we just heard, let us sing hymn 396, I Know This Rose Will Open, from the Gray Hymnal. It is a brief mantra meant to be repeated, so we will sing it through 4 times. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able. The lyrics will be projected.
So I mentioned Chris Cooper, the man who was bird watching, the black man who was bird watching in Central Park when he asked a white woman to place her dog on a leash, which was what was meant to be in that location. And she called the police on him. That happened the same day that George Floyd died. He has been a longtime board member of the Audubon Society in New York City, and he's actually worked to try and get the Audubon Society to drop that name because John Audubon was an anti-abolitionist and slaveholder. I'm pleased to be able to tell you that he yesterday premiered a show on National Geographic Wild Channel called, I think it's like, I can't remember the exact title of it right now, but so he's able to share his love, his delight with everyone, and he really wants to work to advocate and educate. 1/3 of the birds that were present when he started bird watching have now disappeared from our continent in population. So I'm really grateful that something came out of that horrible incident. I love that our call to worship reminds us we can rejoice as we resist, dance as we demand change, and celebrate as we create community that delights in all of who we are. We support each other here at San Gabriel by being in community and having fun. You heard it here first. There's talk about putting up some karaoke after services every Sunday, so we will see some of that happen. Every so often, maybe, not every Sunday, but. And as George Bernard Shaw says, you don't stop laughing when you grow old when you stop laughing. So, I'm glad to hear a lot of laughter. So this is the talk amongst yourselves part of the service. I would love it if you could turn to people near you, maybe someone you aren't as familiar with. You might have to get up and move to be around other folks you don't know very well. And for those of you at home, maybe you can type in the chat or you can reflect independently on what delights you. What are the things that you wish others would delight in with you? A couple questions you could maybe think about are, has delight ever helped you survive something difficult? Who taught you the most about cultivating delight? And what is the oddest thing you delight in? All right, so we've got a few minutes. Let's do this. Take a time to chat with your neighbors. Yes. And I still am surprised.
offertory music today. I don't know. I'll just
Oh.
say courtesy of Joel.
Yeah, he's singing, Let It Be, he's playing Let It Be a Dance.
Let it be a dance.
Yeah, I have it in my script here, if you want to just read it from here. I have it in,
Okay,
yeah.
you're good. Oh, you're
I'll
saying
just
that.
leave this up here for you, and you can read it off of this one. I don't know if we're making sound for the... I'll
You
just
can-
leave.
You can read that. Oh,
I'll just read I'll leave this here, and that way you'll have the words.
and then that's the last.
That's the last thing you do, I
No,
think.
I have to extinguish.
Oh,
the
that's
shower.
right. All right. I hate to break up your fun conversations about everything that delights you, but you are welcome to continue them during coffee and conversation in a minute. All right, Linda, you going to come forward? We talked about soap, that minty smelling soap, Dr. Bronner's mint soap. That was a delightful thing. What else did we say? Oh, Linda's an avocado toast person. Just want you all to know that brings lots of delight to her. Yeah, so we shared quite a bit. And, of course, Blue Ridge Parkway, we talked about that too. All right.
I spent a lot of time camping on the Blue Ridge Parkway with my family. We had a collie. It brings back wonderful memories. And now it's time for the offering. We take an offering each week to sustain this space that we call home and to support the work of our fellowship. If this is your first time here, please let the plate pass you by. Your presence here is gift enough. Thank you for coming. The offertory music today is our hymn, Let It Be a Dance, performed by Joe as a Roomba. The offering will now be gratefully received, and we thank you.
I'm glad, we did it. We brought some delight into this room. Yay. Thank you, Joe. I'll just repeat a few announcements. General Assembly, see me or Keith if you're interested in representing our fellowship. Very easy to do. And important note, we will be watching the amazing worship service that closes General Assembly. It starts at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, which means we all need to be here at 10 a.m. We need to be here early. So we'll make sure to get that in the messenger, but please try to remember that we need to be here at 10 a.m. and you do not want to miss it because the music and the message will be incredible. It is just the best of our UU world. I hope you enjoyed the conversation you had around delight, and we invite you to continue to do that with coffee and conversation. Many thanks to Joe and Linda, who are on the chancel with me today, and our tech team and our hospitality folks making coffee, and our greeters in the back, everything and everyone that needs to go smoothly for us to have a lovely Sunday together.
And our preacher.
Okay, yeah, our preacher. And you may have heard in the news about Daniel Ellsberg's death. He was 92. You may not know the Unitarian Universalist history of the Pentagon Papers and them being published. He wanted them to be read into the congressional record. The only person who was willing to do that was the senator from Alaska who was Unitarian. And ultimately, the entire Pentagon Papers were published by the UUA at a very financially difficult time for the organization. And the harassment that we endured from the Nixon administration during that time nearly bankrupted us. If you want to learn more about our history in helping making these important documents available to the public, you can Google that. You'll find the Harvard Square Library has all the information about it. All right, I think that's all I have. I'm ready to extinguish.
I almost hate to end. The room is so full of delight and energy. We close our sacred time together when we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the chalice inside of our hearts, which serve as a beacon of hope, emboldened by its blaze. We are reminded that our strength as prophetic and powerful people is found when we come together at San Gabriel, which is here in Georgetown to stay, no matter what may come our way. And thank you for being here. And I just enjoy looking at your faces.